This week, we talk about running. Also, we'll take the mystery out of leptin and check in to see if I'm any less fat. Let's get into it.
Yeah. Wish there was more drum.
Dewey, are you ready to change your life, improve your health, improve your fitness, improve your diet? Are you ready to get it on today?
Okay.
I've been watching a lot of wrestling promos. I'm trying to up my energy.
There's nothing I hate more than wrestling.
I got stuck in a YouTube loop of biography. See, I mean, I was aware of wrestling, but I didn't really watch it. But, I came up in the Hulk Hogan, early 80s.
Macho Man.
Yeah, that era. And they had a cartoon.
Jake the Snake Roberts.
They had a cartoon on Saturday mornings.
I remember that.
So I watched that.
Yep.
So I never actually watched real, well, not real, but the WWE or whatever. WWF back then. I never watched it, but I'm kind of fascinated with those guys as like biographies because, man, they just destroy their bodies, just doing shit tons of steroids. They get injured all the freaking time, and they just have to work, because Vince McMahon is such a whoosh, such a taskmaster, and that, they're working, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 days a week doing this wrestling shit, and they almost always drop dead early.
Oh, for sure.
And
loaded.
They
with
know that
juice.
They don't care.
Oh no, because they all think they're going to be the next Rock.
It. Yeah, they love it so much that they're just willing to completely destroy their bodies. Which I suppose you could say the same about anybody going into the NFL. Like all these linemen, they're getting that CTE or whatever. A lot of them, hey, if I could tell you right now, you're going to have a 10-year career, you're going to win 2 Super Bowls, and you're going to drop dead when you're 52, would you sign right here when they're 21? I bet most would probably do it.
It's too far out. They'd be like, 52, that's old as shit. Where do I sign?
Exactly.
I already told you right here.
Yep, exactly. Crazy. All right, well, we're going to talk about some running stuff. I got some other news things to discuss.
Leptin, I like that.
Yeah, leptin.
Backup. Follow Ghrelin.
Yeah, because we did Ghrelin last week, and we're going to talk about the kind of the opposite of that, the opposite hormone of that. And I got a few news stories to get to here too. One thing I saw that was interesting, and this one was kind of, I don't know where you come down on this stuff, but we've talked about beer, right? But see, the difference is beer is a calorie thing. Mm-hmm. Right. So, if you're trying to get fit,
this turns into one.
If you're trying, if you're trying to get fit and drop weight, you can't be drinking a bunch of beer. So it's obvious you have to cut it out. Mm-hmm. But what about the ear, man? Ear.
I'm pro.
How high are you right now?
I know that's from something I don't remember.
My favorite high quote is from Revenge of the Nerds 2, Nerds in Paradise, when they're all smoking weed around the campfire, and Ogre finally makes friends with the nerds.
Yeah.
And he goes, what if CAT really spelled dog? And they're all spouting these crazy scientific theories, and he goes, and his version of that was, what if CAT really spelled dog? And they're like, classic movie.
Did you laugh at that?
I did back then.
I've never seen that. Part 2, no.
Oh.
And now
Nerds in Paradise.
Now I'm never going to.
You got Well, it helps if you're like 20 or whatever it was.
And high.
Well, I wasn't. And we'll get into that. And see, I don't have a dog in this fight or a doob in this fight.
You had that written down.
That was off the dome, bro. You know why? Because I don't smoke weed. I'm sharp as a tack. No.
You'd be sharper if you did.
I've never smoked weed. I've been around it, of course, hanging out with musicians and the like. But I've never drank, I've never done any type of mood altering substance besides caffeine. Excuse me while I take a drink of this Diet Coke now.
Right. I picture you being in a band, having long hair, riding in a van, town to town.
Check. All check.
Yeah, just rocking and rolling, living that rock and roller life.
Yep.
And then I picture you like fucking Mario Kart, dodging drugs and alcohol.
Well, funny story about how why I avoided all that stuff. Because so my dad had to get sober in 1985. I was 14, and that was a pivotal point because that's when a lot of people start dabbling.
Yep.
Right. And for me, I was just wired so computery. So logically, I was like, does not compute to do drugs.
Right.
And I just said, I'm out. I'm gonna just not do it because I don't see the upside.
Yep.
And that went for alcohol. Any type of. I didn't like the idea of not being in total control of my senses and my faculties and all that.
Right.
And actually, funny thing is, playing in bars all those years reinforced that.
Right. Because
it didn't actually make it more difficult. It reinforced it. So
I can see that where you're like, I don't want to be those people.
Yeah, because you see all these idiots like stumbling up to you and just looking like it wasn't something I wanted to emulate. So for me, but again, as a libertarian-minded person, I could care less.
Right.
I'm all for legalization of everything. I don't care. People should have personal responsibility as long as you're not harming your kids, and you can take care of your kids and you're not harming other people. I don't care what you do in your own house.
Plus it becomes a thing. Like I've never done this. And all of a sudden it's like,
makes it more attractive.
That's a streak.
Right.
Do I want to break this streak?
Right.
And then it becomes part of your identity.
Yeah.
Where people associate it with you.
Yeah.
And it makes you more interesting.
Well, so what we're talking about here for those that are listening is weed, right? The marijuana. So, we talked about the beer, and that's a caloric thing.
Yeah. That's not.
But can you smoke weed and be jacked? Can you smoke a ton of weed?
A ton? No, you can't do a ton of anything and be in good health.
Well, why not though?
Because everything in moderation.
But why? See, that's what I don't understand.
I don't know. You have too much water, you can die.
I suppose.
Anything.
That actually happened with some radio station contestants.
Oh, really?
Where they were giving away PlayStations or something for these radio station contests. And it was who could drink and not go to the bathroom the longest. And some chick downed a couple gallons and dropped dead the next day.
It's a real thing.
I mean,
marathon runners do it.
That's freaking crazy.
Yeah.
But okay.
But you can't, you can die from alcohol poisoning. You can't overdose on marijuana.
Right. And I mean, I think actually weed is way safer than booze. If you gun to my head, had to pick which one I was going to do or recommend.
Not only is that true, I'm going to take it a step. I'm going to take it a step further.
Oh, let's hear it.
It's not even debatable.
But okay, I guess podcast's over. Well, see you guys next week.
We're going to debate it. I didn't know we were talking about that. I didn't know that was the show theme. No, but it's not. You can't debate it. Marijuana is far, far safer.
Yeah.
Christ, they prescribe it.
How funny is
Doctors too.
How funny is that it's taken this long for it to the legalized wave to fall over the country?
And you know why
it has been legal this whole time?
Because they figured out how to tax booze.
Well, yeah,
they couldn't figure out how to tax Mary Jane. So as long as the government can't get their fingers in the money, it's illegal.
They got there though.
They did. They got there.
And again,
and now
libertarian,
Colorado will never have a fucking pothole ever again.
Well, I'm wondering the states that have done it, because now we have a nice comparison, right? So we can see the states that have done it. Obviously, they've taken in tons more money.
They skew the stats.
But have they attracted, the wrong elements?
Nope.
Like all the hippies and stuff. That
no.
I wonder. That's why I wish it was just legal everywhere, so people wouldn't congregate in one state just for the weed.
Well. And I mean, you just went head first straight into one of the worst stereotypes.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, you think about the guy that lays around, does
nothing.
Yeah,
and of all the people I know who use marijuana on a regular basis, the most wear suits to work.
Yeah. Okay.
100%.
Right. Well, let's look at this article here. So it says 9 ways marijuana affects, because we're looking at it from a fitness, diet, nutrition kind of perspective.
Sure, and that I don't know. That I'll have to hear this out because I don't know its impact on regular usage for competitive, hyper competitive, elite athletes.
Here's something I don't know. Can you be in the CrossFit games and test positive for weed?
I don't know.
Is it like a banned substance or
I don't know.
Because if it's legal in your state, why would it be a banned substance? It's not performance enhancing.
If I have to guess, I don't know if that's a banned substance. Pretty sure a simple Google search would let us know. But if it were or is, I would be really surprised based on what I know about the CrossFit community.
Right. Right. Well, like it says here, they're starting to challenge the stereotype of lazy, overweight stoners.
Well, yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah.
Let's just squash the weed makes you hungry thing because it doesn't.
Is that complete bullshit?
It is. It just makes food taste good.
Oh, okay.
So you eat more. You're like, it's like when you're stoned, you watch a movie, you're like, this is the coolest movie I've ever seen.
Right.
What is this?
Yeah.
It's just Star Wars, bro. But it's the same with food. This is the best pizza I've ever eaten.
Okay.
It just
heightens your.
It doesn't matter
enjoyment.
if it heightens your senses of everything, including sex. It's just everything across the board just gets super heightened.
One thing it says here, benefit 1, reduce inflammation. So that's a claim that they're making. And we accomplish that through carb restriction, right? So that's kind of our approach for that. But according to this article in Muscle and Fitness, that's one of the benefits. Benefit number 2, ease soreness and pain.
Sure.
Because it's
a pain reliever.
They prescribe it for cancer patients, things like
absolutely.
that. So it must have some of that, some of those properties.
Cataracts, ADD. It's
treating muscle
very good for ADD.
spasms. Okay. Positive results in treating muscle spasms associated with diseases like MS and Parkinson's. Yeah, that's annoying, by the way. Like when it's illegal in your state and they won't let some Parkinson's guy smoke weed, it's like, who gives a shit?
And North Dakota doesn't matter anymore, though.
That's good.
It's just a misdemeanor.
Right, but the fact that they would tell him not to, it's like he's not selling it to kids on the playground. It's like just let the guy freaking smoke weed.
If you get caught in North Dakota with a minuscule amount, it's no worse than a speeding ticket.
That's good.
The worst punishment of all is they take it from you. Motherfucker.
A single tear. Benefit 4, improve sleep.
Without a doubt.
It's no secret that THC induces sleep, but studies have... See, that's where the laziness comes in. Because people say, well, I mean, if you're sitting around taking NyQuil all day, you'd come off like a lazy ass. So, if it does improve your sleep or make you sleepier, I can see how that would affect.
But here's the thing. Everyone thinks that it doesn't matter if it's marijuana or alcohol.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks that it's this. Think of it as a light switch. It's not a light switch. It's not on or off. It's more of a dimmer switch.
Yeah. It's
not like do you do weed? No. Off. Do you do weed? Yes. On. Stone. 24/7. It's not that zeros and ones.
It's a matter of degree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Well, yeah. I mean, there's guys that smoke or not smoke, but like drink one whiskey a week or something.
Yeah.
And then there's guys that freaking get hammered every night.
There might be a guy who has that nightcap every night. Just a finger, 2 fingers of scotch and helps him
affects
fall
his
asleep.
life in no way.
Right.
Yeah.
So then there's a guy that has, a bite of an edible and goes to sleep and
there's another reason why I didn't start.
Oh.
Right, because, could I eat one Oreo? Fuck no. Could I smoke one doobie? Nope.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's better for me. Just avoid.
For me, it was always easier than alcohol. Alcohol is like one beer is always 12.
Right. Exactly.
But with that, I could be perfectly content.
You think you could just like smoke one doobie and be done or whatever?
I know.
A small amount.
I don't think. I know, but not even finish that whole, like a joint. I never use.
You could just do a reasonable amount.
Just like a hit or two and just be done.
Yeah, I feel like it's not as because I think the difference with alcohol, I think it impairs your decision-making abilities so much more that's what makes you keep going.
Right. Marijuana does not impair your decision-making. Right. It enhances them.
Well, here's benefit number 5, improve mental acuity. I need to get some weed.
It definitely heightens it.
It said weed. They said weed helped them get in the zone with their workouts. Oh,
I don't know about that.
I need to get a bong in my home gym.
I don't know about that part. Never done that.
All right, and then it gets into the risks.
Damaged lungs.
Damage of lungs. Well, yeah, if you're smoking it, I suppose. It's not as bad as cigarettes, they say, but...
Oh, there's not all the chemicals and...
Right, but you're still taking some smoke.
You're putting fire
lungs.
in your lungs.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
So,
I can see that.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like smoking it.
Impair motor skills, okay.
But what they didn't touch on is...
Or they haven't yet.
Put it in gummy bear form.
Right, edibles, yeah.
You don't have to worry about
right.
damaging your lungs.
So it says here, it's no secret, like any intoxicant, marijuana can impair your motor skills. Now, that's an interesting thing because all these states that have legalized it, how are they handling if you eat 100 edibles and get behind the wheel?
People who...
I don't think it's as bad as booze. Obviously.
It's not as bad.
But it's not nothing, though.
It's not nothing.
It's not nothing.
But here's the argument here, and somehow you always fucking drag us down this political bullshit. But you're
the one that said it.
Here's the argument. The only people who say, well, there's no way to test it. If you can't test it, we can't do it because it's dangerous. Whatever.
Wrong.
You're just telling me that you've never done it when you say that.
Right.
Because anyone who has done it understands that if you're sitting at home, you ain't fucking going anywhere. You're not going anywhere for the next 6 to 8 hours. You might not even get up off the couch.
That's when the pizza delivery guy gets the call.
Oh, yeah.
See?
Yep. Because you're like, I'm good.
Now, but let's say...
There's no like, I want to party. You know what else there would be? If we replaced, in the entire country, if we replaced booze with marijuana, there'd never be another fight.
Right. That's, yeah.
There'd never be another fist fight.
Well, like whenever I play bars and then, we're playing at the windbreak and there's, a fight breaking out in the parking lot at 2 a.m.
Yep.
That's always alcohol related.
For sure.
If it was a bunch of stoners, I know for a fact that would be way, way, way reduced. There's always assholes, sober. But if it was all weed and not booze, I feel like that would definitely be humongously reduced.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there's no question.
Okay, but then that begs the question, how do you regulate? How, is it a breath test? Like, how do you tell someone is impaired? And let's say you say you're not going to leave the house, but let's say you get a call, your daughter's in the hospital. You gotta get her quick and you're home alone and you got to drive. How impaired do you feel like your driving ability would be?
Well, then they would still do a field sobriety test.
Right. So basically, can you accomplish so you think just like the same one that works for booze would be?
Absolutely.
And if you can accomplish that, then you're good to go. And what about the slow reaction times, though?
Nope. I don't buy that.
All right.
But I do buy.
It says here, decision making and motor coordination can be impaired, making certain activities more difficult, such as driving.
I'm saying there's mental clarity. Jesus.
Right. Well, no, that just means when you're crashing, you're much more aware of it.
But there's a set of There's a set of questions that law enforcement could say, hey.
Who's your favorite rapper? Snoop Dogg. Come with me, sir. We're taking you in.
Right. Who do you look up to the most? Snoop Dogg.
Seth
but
Rogen.
You could say,
who's your favorite filmmaker? Seth Rogen. You're coming with us.
Yeah. Yeah. This is open and shut. But you could say, you could phrase certain questions that would induce laughter. And you would be able to tell.
Right.
I mean, it would just be short interview process. If you're truly impaired.
Right.
If you're like, if you came up to me and said,
I got the perfect example. Sir, what if CAT really spelled dog?
And then
as Ogre said
laughing.
in Revenge of the Nerds 2.
Right.
He goes, yeah, bro.
He starts laughing.
Come with me, sir. Get me back.
But here's the thing. If I come up to you and I pull you over and I say, all right, out of the car.
I say, what's up, Officer Sexy?
And I start saying, I pulled you over. And you're like, yep, I was going a little fast. All right. And where are you off to in a rush? Just got a phone call. My daughter.
To the weed store.
My daughter just got in an accident. And you're just like,
yeah.
Well, guess what? You might have been smoking, but you're not impaired. So quit trying to make it something it's not.
Well, and it's that level of degree again.
Right.
Was it 2 puffs or was it 18 gummies?
I think I can smell it on you.
Well, yes.
Okay, I can smell it on you.
If they smoke
but
it,
you're
you
not
definitely
impaired.
can. Right. Yeah. Well, that's the problem with smoking it. Because if somebody walks by that smokes weed, oh my God, they might not. It's kind of like some regular smoking. They might not even smell it because they're kind of immune. They're so used to it.
It's like if I got put. Here's what I'm striving for, and maybe I'm not making it clear enough. If we leave here and go to happy hour, and I have a beer, and I spill half of it on my shirt, but I drank the other half, and then I ordered one more, and I drank that whole one. Cop pulls me over, smells it on my breath, smells it on my shirt. So you've been drinking? Yes, sir.
They know you have. Yeah.
Yes, sir. And I go, and he goes, how many? Just 1 or 2. And I really did. And I get out of the car, and I do all the stupid human tricks to a T.
Yep.
Including the alphabet backwards. What's he going to say? I'm going to,
go on your way.
Even if he makes me blow, I'm going to blow green.
Yep.
So I'm going to be fine.
Go on your way.
So then what happens? Go on my way. Why would weed be any different?
Right. No,
so if you're not impaired, you're not impaired. If you are, you are.
Right. I'm just wondering what they're going to use as a standard. I guess the field sobriety test works, but I'm thinking they don't have like a breathalyzer equivalent.
No, but they will.
Right. They'll get there. So for now, just use
what they'll probably end up doing is saying, all right, we're going to need to use this like a diabetes, take your blood, put it in a canister and go, you can go on your way.
Yeah.
But we're testing this and we know where you live.
Yep. Yeah, that would work.
But again, even if it comes back positive,
it's got to be
you're impaired.
Well, it's got to be
exactly
over a certain threshold.
Because you could be positive 3 days later.
Well, the thing is with booze, there's like chronic alcoholics that can have really high BACs and still function
perfectly
because they're so their tolerance is so high.
It's up here.
Yeah, and then there's people that are noobs at drinking, can barely maybe be right at the legal limit and then be impaired.
Yeah,
so
I did.
It's never a perfect system, you know.
Yeah, that was me last Friday night. I had
18 gummies, bro.
No, like 2 large Bud Lights waiting for our takeout food. And I got home and I was like, what the fuck? I'm such a lightweight.
I felt it.
Yeah, and then the next morning I had a little bit of headache.
Wow.
Like, Jesus.
Okay, here, risk number 3.
Like high school.
Risk number 3, increased likelihood of chronic depression. That's kind of interesting because it's kind of sold as a antidote to that.
Sure.
So heavy long-term usage of cannabis is correlated with increased risk of psychiatric disorders such as anxiety, depression, and schizophrenia.
Everything starts with heavy long-term usage.
Heavy long-term, yep, exactly. Oh, interesting. All right. And then, risk number 4, increased heart attack.
I'm sure you're smoking.
Marijuana has been linked with an increased risk of heart attack within 1 hour of consuming it, combined with one of the main triggers for heart attacks, sudden exertion. Well, who's doing that?
The fucking people who did it right before their workouts.
Oh, right.
2 pages up.
Or I'm gonna smoke a doob and go shovel, bro.
Right.
Those are the guys that drop dead. It says anyone with a history of heart problems should consult a doctor before beginning any fitness regimen and probably should avoid marijuana altogether. Yeah. They just got to cover their ass.
I think you know where I stand on this. Yeah. It's if we're gonna have a war on marijuana, but not hyper palatable foods, we got it all backwards.
Well, and they tried to have it on booze. Remember how well that worked?
Right.
So at some point, you just have to go, this does not work.
Just like booze and guns,
right?
Marijuana, only the bad guys have it.
Exactly.
You're not doing anything except creating a crazy profitable black market.
Yeah, where a lot of other related crime happens. All right, so that was weed, bro. Well, here's the other point on that. Like we talk about the laziness and the stereotypes and stuff. Well, look at Elon Musk was on Rogan smoking a joint.
He never inhaled once, though.
Right. Yeah. But
sorry, I picked that up when I was watching it.
No, but just it's just out there.
Oh,
Yep. I mean, it's not. When I was a kid,
it's not going anywhere.
It was like,
it was joked about in movies.
Marijuana.
Right.
It's like meanwhile, guys are down in booze and they're talking about marijuana smokers like they're doing heroin or something.
Right.
But you look at like Kevin Smith, Seth Rogen, Joe Rogan, Snoop, all these like super famous mainstream celebrities.
Yep.
And I mean, Seth Rogen smokes weed like all day. You know, I mean, he would be a heavy user. I mean, he makes like weed ashtrays and, you know, just his life is consumed with that, but he still manages to produce a high level of content. Well, debatably high level, but
he's funny.
A voluminous level of content. And, you know, his movies make money and he's somehow managed to function in this crazy elite system, even though he's a total stoner, bro.
But it's his, is he?
Well,
or is it
according to him. Well, maybe.
Is he living up to a bit?
Or his tolerance is so freaking high now from 15 years of doing every
like
day.
the Playboy who claims to get tail twice a day every night and then hasn't been on a date in 3 months.
Really just playing solitaire.
Right. But it's part of his bit. You got to keep up.
Yeah. So interesting stuff.
Very.
Yeah, I'm just kind of fascinated with the whole thing.
It's not going anywhere.
No, definitely not. I mean, I don't know how many states it's legal in now, but it's an increasing number, and it'll eventually be 50. I mean, even North Dakota, which we see is like still you can't shop until noon on a Sunday.
That's gone though.
Yeah, but I mean, just went
like
away
a year or two ago. Yeah.
Not even like I mean, like this
was it?
I think it was in 2020 at some point.
Oh,
you know, they literally just decided okay, we'll let you shop before noon because you really should be at church. But I guess we'll let you.
Right.
So let me
take it up with Jesus.
Let me make the decision, right. Yeah, asshole. But you know, even when North Dakota is doing it, like I said, they're not really punishing people, and I think they've pushed to have it on the ballot for recreational use or whatever, and it didn't pass, but it feels like it's going to fairly soon. So, you know, I think it's just eventually it's going to be all 50 states.
There's no doubt.
Yeah.
It's just even silly to fight.
Exactly.
But you got Christy Nome in South Dakota just fighting the good fight. She's still anti-weed. She's going to, oh, God, rabid.
That's just, you know, it's like somebody in the 20s being anti-booze. You just got to realize it's not going to work. All right, well, let's move on to this week. Like last week, I got in a Ted Naiman rabbit hole. This week, the carnivore Aurelius guy, we've talked about him before.
Yeah, he's funny.
He tweaks me, and he's always, like when he makes a list of like things that are good for you or bad for you, there's always like 8. I'm like, fuck yeah. And then one, I'm like, what the fuck is that on there? Like I think he knows the perfect way to troll and mix things up and just have you go, why is he saying that? But I thought this was a really good tweet. It says, I'd like a reality show where we make health authorities follow their own advice and watch in real time how they destroy their health. Oh shit. That's funny, man. I mean, that's so, you know, well, and then of course down below,
Ready Player One.
Got the picture of the Belgian Minister of Health being a gigantic
that
sea
Will
monster.
exercising man, Newton, he's a good follow.
Oh, okay. Yep. I mean, but that's hilarious. And how funny and hypocritical of these health authorities is that? You know, if they're eating the food pyramid to a T and getting all their whole grains and all the other bullshit and, you know, eating like they recommend.
I would contest where Mr. Aurelius says, make the health authorities follow their own advice and watch in real time how they destroy their health. Mm-hmm. Too late.
What do you mean?
Too late. They already did it.
Oh, yeah. Right. Right.
They're done.
Yep, exactly.
Can't get much worse than for most of those, unfortunately.
Oh, that's funny shit. So then I got into a rabbit hole with him, and he sends out a newsletter, and this is one of his lists that made me laugh and go, hell yeah, to most of it. It says, and I'll read it for the audio listeners. It has a picture of a overweight dude with a heart sunglasses on and a floppy hat and a inner tube around his gut. And it says, the average man today has tits, no purpose, watches porn all day, is low testosterone, throws temper tantrums, can't support a family, values casual sex above all else, masturbates nightly. It is absolutely disastrous. Men used to spend their time studying the greatest books, hunting, and caring for their family. Now they waste their time on video games, dating apps, porn, and mindless TV shows. This is a direct result of modern society and a huge reason why it will continue to crumble. I'd say that's a bold stance.
He went out there. He went out on that limb, and And he's not ashamed.
No, not at all. He just calls out the fat betas, you know?
Yep.
I mean, his first thing that he says is the average man today has tits.
Doesn't he say moobs or something else?
No, he's
That's just
he's like,
neutral.
Fuck you, you fat pig. You got tits. You're a piece of shit.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he's just out there. Do you disagree with any of that? See, I really don't. I mean, it's, you know,
I have a hard time.
It's a matter of degree, but
Yeah, right.
you know, not everybody masturbates nightly. But you know, it's funny is just because of and not to get down to this rabbit hole, but you know, when we grew up, I mean, you're what, 47? I'm 49.
Yeah, I think.
So when
sometimes.
we were at our fervent masturbation years, there was no internet.
Wait, there are years?
Did I?
I mean, yeah,
decades.
Yeah,
that's what I meant, decades. But you know, when I was 12 and discovering my body, you know, there was no internet.
There's no finish line.
If you found, if you found a Playboy in the woods, you know, you were
right.
It was jackpot, you know.
Right.
But
see if I can dry it off.
If I would have had literally a device in my hand, you know, keep one hand free, of course, you know, that you could literally type tits in, and you could see as many tits as you want.
Get a picture of that guy in the inner tube.
Yeah, that's the danger. I mean,
be specific in your searches.
How would you rein that in? How, you know, it's just so readily available, and there's all kinds of studies now that are showing that these young men don't respond to
actual
women.
Yep.
Because of the constant stimulus they have, and it lowers their drive to go out and procreate, which is obviously the driving force,
right?
You know, that gets you out there to be an alpha and pursue women. And they just don't do it now because they're like, I can jerk off 5 times a day, looking at any kind of craziness I want.
I think it's a real problem.
Yeah,
I really do. But at the same time, Mother Nature always wins.
Yeah.
So it's people are going to still hook up. I just don't think it's as big of a problem where we need to have a GoFundMe and start an association.
No, but you know, if you're hearing about 21-year-olds that need Viagra,
right?
That's, you know,
right.
That's a definite shift.
That sounds like an outlier.
And you know, I would say some of it is diet too, because you know,
100%.
They're like plant-based, and you know, they don't have any of the awesome amino acids and stuff and proteins in meat, and they're jerking off to porn all the time, and their testosterone is plummeting because of their diet and all these activities. Then you know, they don't have that drive. I mean, it's called sex drive, right? You're supposed to be out there pursuing females,
and it's just like
dudes, whatever you're into.
Here's a comparison. It's just like food. Remember, you said back in the day when we maybe find the Playboy in the woods,
right?
And we weren't constantly bombarded.
We were like cavemen.
We're
finding the saber-toothed tiger once a month.
Right. So it was like even though even at the same time when we were kids, it was finding the Playboy in the woods was like getting that cake on your birthday.
Yeah.
Or Christmas cookies at Christmas.
Yep. It wasn't every day, all day.
But not cookies all day, like porn on your phone.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's exactly it. Yeah, that's a perfect analogy, and it's just that, it's that constant, you know, hit, that constant dopamine hit.
Right.
So that all of a sudden your brain doesn't respond to that stimulus. It needs more, the tolerance.
Yep.
You know, and then guys get into freakier stuff, and, you know, they need just a regular old-fashioned naked chick isn't worth pursuing.
And then depending on their wealth status, they become Christian Grey, or they become an episode of NCIS in a trailer court.
Right, exactly.
They do the same things.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a meme I saw.
That's funny.
When Christian Grey, that movie came out, and it said the only reason women are attracted to Christian Grey and his fetishes is because he's a billionaire. If he was poor, that would be an episode of NCIS.
Right. That's good. Yep. So that's Carnivore Aurelius. That's one of his. This came from his newsletter. So definitely check him out on Twitter and subscribe to that. But it's pretty funny stuff. So I also saw this from Paul Saladino.
I saw this.
Yeah, it's the why do I feel like crap all the time starter.
He's coming at me with that one on the top right. Fuck, that's me.
See? Yep. So it's okay for the audio listeners. It's got a picture of a Happy Meal, burger, fries, and pizza. Red Bull, energy drink, Crisco, vegetable oil. A dude staring at his phone all day.
Guilty.
That's where Dewey feels attacked. A fat guy in his recliner, eating with one hand, remote in the other. Starbucks, Frappuccino, like super sugary coffee drink, and then Beyond Meat.
You know what I started doing?
Oh, and that's what people freaking eat all day, man.
Right.
Every day.
You know what I started doing? If you showed somebody, because this happens to me all the time, because I talk about nutrition a lot, as you
won't
probably
shut up about it,
right? If I showed somebody
about nutrition all day,
if I showed this to a lot of people, you know what they'd say? That's me. All of those are me, but I don't feel like crap. Oh. You know what I say? Liar.
So do you think
you're lying? No, you're just fucking lying to my face. You do too. There's no way.
Or is it they just don't know what good feels like?
Or that, yeah. There could be that. But if they get up in the morning and get out of bed and go, ugh, you don't feel good.
Well, but I had that same thing, but before I discovered low carb, because to me, restricting my carbs solved all my aches and pains and
inflammation was gone.
Yep. Right. So until I was about 40, I would get out of bed and I'd feel like the aches and pains and go, well, that's 40, I guess.
Welcome to 40.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know any better. But then and I was sniffling all the time, sneezing constantly. Well, got allergies again. That's just, just seasonal. Well, every season.
Right.
I'm constantly sniffling.
Yep.
And then when I did carb restriction and all that went away, I went, holy crap, this is possible. You can exist like this. Now I'm 49. I have zero pain in any joints. I don't have great mobility. That's a separate issue. But
could that have been one of the carbs that you got rid of?
Right. It's I don't know. I couldn't. I'd have to do a study.
Have you been tested for celiac?
I was tested. I actually went to. That was my last straw. I went to an allergist or whatever they're called, allergenist. I don't know, and had the test where they prick you a bunch of times, and came back inconclusive. And he said you have sinusitis, and that was just his punt to say.
But he needs to run a specific test for celiac disease.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't think I do because I don't have any weird,
You get ill if you eat bread?
No, not at all. Just the normal inflammation stuff. Just you can feel it in your joints a little bit.
Sure.
Sniffling, just signs of inflammation. So I did not know what feeling like crap. I thought it was just normal. And then I felt good. And I went, wow. It was like, when you have like a welding helmet on and you lift it and you're like, holy crap, that's how bright it is out here.
Right.
It was a whole nother
like
layer.
Neo.
Yeah,
waking
exactly.
up in the Matrix.
Yeah. It was a whole nother layer of like, holy shit, this is what's possible. And once you have a taste of that, then you're chasing that.
But like Neo, you wake up and you're like, holy shit. Ugh.
But it's not easy. It's not easy. Yeah. It's freaking hard.
It's like the guy said, you know what? Put me back in. Make me a millionaire and I want to eat steak every night.
Yep. Oh, plenty of people would, red pill, blue pill, plenty of people would choose some of each. So,
yeah.
But yeah, that was a good meme. Here's another one I found that was kind of funny. I thought about this. It's got a cat, a pretty fat ass cat with a weight belt on, and it says, me standing around in between sets thinking I look super strong with my belt on. What's your between sets?
Wearing it wrong.
Do you pace around like a lion in the gym?
Depends on the movement.
See, I do. I cannot stand still. I never sit. I never lay down. I never lean against anything. Whenever I'm between sets, I have to just kind of pace. That's my routine.
I've been getting better at not getting up. So if it's like bench press,
you stay down.
I put it down and I just lay, or I sit up, but I don't leave the bench.
Okay.
And when I do that, I'm more apt to stay within the rest window.
Because you kind of have a prescribed 60 seconds, 90 seconds,
90.
Whatever. 90, yeah.
90 if it's heavy.
You think you'll push it too much if you got up from the bench?
For sure.
Yeah.
Especially at a global gym when I'm running into people I know.
Oh, well.
And then the other part of the global gym, the risk you run of, I'm going to go get a drink.
Oh,
Or you lose your bench.
Right.
Unless you like leave your headphones on it or that little towel or something.
Well, I'm a true alpha, so what I do is I just take on my dick and just pee
all over it.
Yeah, this is my shit. You betas, fuck off. This is my bench.
Until that guy comes over that looks like the mountain from Game of Thrones and just
picks it by the neck with one hand.
And then wipes up your
he's
piss.
sipping his coffee in the other.
Goes like this and just mops up your piss with your hair.
Yes.
How's that, Alpha?
I'm from Iceland. Yeah. What's with Iceland, by the way? Like, is it something
genetic freaks?
The volcanic ash that gets into their DNA? I mean,
it must be.
What percentage of like the absolute craziest strongmen are from that region?
A lot. CrossFitters too.
Yeah. There's all these like mother's daughter and father's daughter and all that.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah, they're all super fit and strong. My theory is that
if you have a kid that's like turns out to be like 6'2", they're like, oh, sorry, he's the runt of the litter.
Right. My theory is that it's super shitty there, so they don't have anything else to do.
Do you work for Icelandic Travel Bureau? It's super shitty here. Travel to Iceland.
It's like every picture. If you like watch any of the videos of,
I thought it was beauty. It's not beautiful. It's just like a Arctic wasteland. Is what you're saying?
It's beauty in
it's the beauty of
way
starkness.
That the Charlie Brown Christmas tree is beautiful.
Okay, wow.
It's beautiful to
Dewey
like
going hard on Iceland
in a picture. Well, it's like early spring in North Dakota, 12 months.
Just flat and gray.
Just bullshit. Yeah.
Okay.
But they love it there. But that's my theory, is that it's so shitty all the time that what else you got to do?
So you think they're just working out more?
Yeah.
Not even that it's just genetically
Well, there's a genetic component,
right,
without a doubt. But it's small, so they're all related.
True. So it's easy to naturally select the tallest guy because the tallest guy can cut a wide swath.
Right. Right.
Funny.
Salt of the earth people, though. Holy shit. Yeah,
don't try to save yourself now.
No.
Have you ever heard the...
Google Iceland and get back to me.
Yeah, okay, people. Then do it. Have you ever heard the saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away?
Yeah.
Okay.
I subscribe
Well, I saw one that was kind of funny. It says, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. No, an apple a day doesn't do shit. Eat a steak instead.
Oh, he's so alpha. He's so tough. Shut up. Eat an apple too.
See, I've waffled. I used to think apples were the healthiest thing on the planet. Eat as many as you can. And then I was like, fuck apples. They're all carbs and sugar and fiber and stuff.
Nobody ever got fat eating too many apples.
Right. And because we've covered the satiety per calorie is high enough because of the volume.
Yeah, right.
It's a lower calorie for the amount of volume it is. So yeah, if you gave me a bushel of apples, it's kind of like potatoes.
Right.
Eat as many apples as you want and nothing else. You're not going to get fat because you can't eat that many. Because you're going to be sick of it after 1.5.
Some nutrition coach tweeted out
unless
the
you're
other
dipping
day,
them in peanut butter and shit.
For sure, yeah, or Nutella. Nutrition coach tweeted out the other day, and he said, I had a client who was struggling, just couldn't break a plateau, and we just couldn't figure out what he was doing. So we finally had a breakthrough when he admitted to periodically throughout the day he was sneaking an apple in the morning and then one mid-afternoon, and then late at night when no one was around, he was eating strawberries. Said no one ever. He said that's never happened.
Right. Replace that with Snickers.
Right.
That's what actually
and
happened.
ice cream, yeah.
Right. Well, I found an article that talks about the history of that saying. Okay. So what it came from, it says the aphorism, and that must be a grammar term. An apple a day keeps the doctor away originated in Wales, first appearing in a publication in 1866 in a different rhyming format. Eat an apple a day on going to bed, and you'll keep the doctor from earning his bread. It doesn't exactly roll off the tongue.
I like that one better, though. Makes it sound smarter.
The saying reappeared in 1913 in its current form. Medical practice in the 19th and 20th centuries was crude, and the public sensibly sought to keep physicians and other health practitioners away. Gee, there's something that's my philosophy. I don't want to go near them. a sentiment that may or may not be out of place in the 21st century. I agree with that. Through the ages, the apple has come to symbolize health and healthy habits, and has been used by government and private health organizations to symbolize lifestyle choices that lead to health and wellness. Well, then it says it was promoted by, of course, the U.S. Apple Association. Big surprise.
Right.
Because if it was, eat a banana a day, keep the doctor away, they're not getting any juice off of that. Yeah. So that's kind of where that came from. I sometimes get in a rabbit hole when I hear sayings and you're like, why is that a saying?
I do that sometimes.
Yeah. So, but now again, when we were kids, you just went to your grave never knowing. Now you can just type it into Google and boom.
Every information known to man, past or present.
Yep. But right here. And I'll post this article if anyone wants to super nerd out on how this saying came about. And
I'm going to make
a whole study.
I'm going to bet nobody takes you up on that offer.
They did a whole study though on whether it actually, people who eat apples every day go to the doctor more or less. And it's kind of interesting. I think they got their, apple eaters versus non-apple eaters, okay?
Do you eat an apple every day? Man, I think so.
Well, yeah, it's probably all epidemiology or whatever that's called. Observational and self-reported bullshit. So, I'm obviously not putting any stock in this, but it's just kind of interesting. So according to this, more apple eaters had 0 visits a year. I think this is a year. And then if you had 1 visit per year, there's more apple eaters. And see, to me, that just says people that are healthy. Because if you have 0 or 1 visits to the doctor a year, you're just getting your regular annual checkup.
Right.
So that makes sense. 2 to 3 visits a year, non-apple eaters more. Because why would you go to the doctor more? Because you're having problems. So that right there says eat the apple. And same thing with the greater than 4 visits, non-apple eaters went more. So conclusion, apple eaters win. They're healthier. We just solved it. Good night, people. See you next week.
Just get a bag of apples.
There you go. But yeah, I think if I'm sort of in the middle now. I'm like, okay, apples are fine, but I don't worry about it either way anymore. Where I used to be like, want to slap apples out of my kids' hands.
Right.
Like, it's all carbs. It's all
sugar.
Yeah.
Sugar.
Get that out of there. Yeah. Fructose. Well, one thing, I kind of went down the Saladino rabbit hole. And one thing he was pointing out, and Ted Naiman too, they both were basically saying fruit good. If you're going to eat sugar and carbs in the form of strawberries and blueberries and stuff, no worries. So
the fiber
it is
and micronutrients. Yeah,
it is different, in that form, sugar in that form. Whereas I used to think fructose bad and want to slap it out of everybody's hand. Mm-hmm. As you can tell, I'm very reasonable and definitely not binary.
When I see people drink orange juice, I say,
orange
you
juice
might as well just be eating a Snickers.
Orange juice is, talk about myths. Orange juice has got to be one of the biggest bullshit things ever.
Oranges are good for you in spite of the juice.
Right. Because of all the shit that it's mixed up with.
Right.
All the pulp and the fiber and everything contained. In order to get that amount of sugar, you'd have to eat how many oranges,
Right.
But they just get rid of anything good about the orange, keep all the sugar, add more sugar.
Make a glass of orange juice using oranges. How many oranges does it take?
Right. Exactly. Crazy shit. All right, so that was my Saladino. Carnivore Aurelius.
That felt like filler.
That was. Just like an apple. It's filler.
There you go. Today for lunch, I had a cucumber like this long, the whole thing. I sliced it up and mini peppers.
You didn't just down it?
Put it in a huge Tupperware bowl. and then I did a bunch of mini peppers. And then I did 2 huge, like ginormous grilled steak or grilled chicken breasts.
Okay.
And I put it all in a Tupperware bowl. The Tupperware bowl was seriously this high and about that big around, and it was heaping.
Oh yeah.
And I picked it up with 2 hands.
How can you? Yeah, that's.
And
how can you even get
Mel
that
goes,
down?
and Mel pulls out the Seinfeld. She's like, I ordered the big salad, and I finished it.
Wow. Were you freaking stuffed?
Stuffed to the rafters. I'm still not hungry.
Right.
And that was at like 11:45.
because of that volume.
Yep.
The volume for the amount of calories.
And it was like 700 calories.
Yeah, right. Yeah, how can you overeat on that?
I ate a lot, but it wasn't that much. I mean, I'm still way under from what I eat.
Yeah, that's one thing that is becoming clear to me is, when we had this conversation last week about the, doing keto and you're prioritizing get all the fat. And then now we're saying prioritize the protein, but then the calorie conversation comes in and it just, we all know. And even though we did a whole episode that's saying SECO will fail you, one of our first couple episodes, but our whole point was it's true, but you have to be able to execute it in a way that you're not suffering all the time. And the way you do that is higher satiety per calorie. And
SECO will fail you simply because
you can't stick to it.
It's too, well, you could if you're satiated.
Well, right,
the reason SECO will fail you is because it's way more complicated than that. You can't just go, oh, move more, eat less. God, I hate that. I saw a tweet the other day, or today maybe. Anyways, doesn't matter. And the guy said,
what time of day was it precisely?
3:00.
Okay.
And the dude goes, I'm at a youth soccer game, U12 or something. And he goes,
got my binoculars out and my van full of candy.
And he said, I've never, ever seen so many. Well, no, it was one of his kids playing, dumbass. And he said, I've never, ever seen so many of these kids that my kid grows up with playing football, basketball, baseball, soccer, etc., that are borderline obese and playing sports year round. Yeah, okay. And he said, okay, yeah, just move more, people.
Right. Right, because kids in previous decades that had that activity level, they were always lean. What's different?
Yeah,
consumption. The diet.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Well, just like we showed the pictures, from my water park anecdote experience, the pictures from the beach from the 1910s to now.
Right.
And
lean
people were everywhere back then, and now they're a unicorn.
I see the kids that are heavy, and I'm like, oh, they fucking don't have a chance. They're gonna start.
You're starting so
far behind.
Back, so fucked. Yep. Yeah, so fucked. Like you said, it's heartbreaking. It's, and then they're being taught, drink the orange juice. That's healthy. Eat the vitamin, whatever they call that, vitamin modified enriched cereal, or whatever. Eat that. Drink the orange juice. Well, shit, no wonder they're gaining.
I mean, I struggled with weight into my late 20s, early 30s. Everyone knows the story. Or both of the people listening know the story. Mm-hmm. And when I was a kid, I blinked too much, and I was single-digit body fat.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And
just
then
twitching.
And look how I ended up in my 20s and 30s.
Yeah.
And I had a head start.
Mm-hmm. Right. Imagine if you had been overweight when you were 12.
Right.
And then, it would be so much worse.
Mm-hmm.
And then, all these things take time to develop. All the cardiovascular problems, the diabetes takes years to develop. Well, if you already got 8 years on by the time you're 20, you're well down the road to having these long-term chronic issues.
Right. Yeah. And that people are like, well, you just leave them be, let them do what they want, and just teach them good stuff and lead by example. And then they'll blossom and they'll figure it out and they'll come into their own.
Well, I think that is part of it. You have to lead by example, because if you're in a family where you're both overweight and you're eating takeout all the time, and
and they see you doing it
footsteps.
For sure,
of course. So that is true, I think.
Yeah, I agree that is true. However, no, that's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. They're not going to blossom. They're not going to be a freaking butterfly in a cocoon and just change overnight. They're learning habits that are going to last them a lifetime.
They're going to have to unlearn all that shit.
Right. And guess what else is going to happen? The other thing that's working against that theory is science and statistics. The obesity rate is skyrocketing.
And they've developed that addiction
piece.
Right. And once that's locked in, if you were raised eating fruits, vegetables, and meat,
or versus Hot Pockets.
Right. I mean,
out 3 times a week.
Yeah, because when you, and I don't know if you experienced this, but when you moved out of the house, I have no imagination when it comes to food. So I have like the 6 things that my mom or grandma made.
Spaghetti.
That's what I'm going to make, right? Like,
goulash.
Roast this, mac and cheese, whatever, whatever you kind of grew up eating, you're going to continue to eat that. Who's going to take a hard left and, no, I'm going to eat healthy. I mean, it takes a ton of effort. More than likely, you're going to just stay in that same path. So if you're raised in a healthy manner.
That's the epiphany I had when I went out on my own was growing up. What did you always get? No, we can't go to KFC. It's too expensive.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have money.
Right.
We got food at home. And then
like Eddie Murphy in the McDonald's hamburger versus the homemade one with
the green pepper burger
sticking out. Yeah.
Yeah. So you get home and you get a green pepper burger. But guess what happened to me when I moved out and I was on my own? And I'm like, I have a little money. I'm going to stop at KFC. Mm-hmm. Buffet. But $5.99? How the fuck did they not afford this? I'm like, $5.99. Serve it up. Let's go.
So they were just lying to you.
Oh, we did it. I remember going to KFC. Me and the boys would go to KFC just because the Beastie Boys did. So, but
and you were just lazy back then.
Oh, that buffet, and you just crush it with the desserts and the unlimited pop and.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, let's get into our term of the week.
So let's make this one quick.
So last week we talked about ghrelin, and this is kind of the opposite
day.
So this is leptin. So definition of leptin, a peptide hormone that is produced by fat cells and plays a role in body weight regulation by acting on the hypothalamus. Thank you. To suppress appetite and burn fat stored in adipose tissue.
That's your belly.
Right. So
unless you're lean.
That's where you don't want.
Right.
The fat to be stored. So, yeah, this is kind of the hormone that works in conjunction or as opposed to ghrelin, right? Mm-hmm. Let's see. So here's an example of a sentence. Some researchers have also suggested that irregular levels of hormones associated with obesity, like glucose regulating,
adiponectin.
I would have never got that. And weight regulating leptin comprise immune responses to the virus. Okay, well, that's just an example of a sentence where they used it.
Right.
Okay. And then it says, further studies revealed that a hormone called leptin, responsible for appetite suppression, is regulated by the circadian clock.
That's why you don't eat after dark.
And I get this argument with my kids all the time, like when we go on vacation, or over the weekends. They're like, why can't we stay up as late as we want?
Mm-hmm.
Because I go to school again on Monday. So you can't.
That's why Mondays suck for people.
Right, because they push it all weekend and then they adjust that circadian rhythm just enough where
and then they're
getting up on
Wednesday
Monday.
They feel normal.
Right. Yep. So that stuff is important. If you, I don't know how people work graveyards and have kids or do any of that shit. I mean,
how about the people who work graveyards for like a couple months and then go back to days?
Oh my God.
Fuck off.
Yeah. Like I've done
ain't doing that
in my photography business. I've taken lots of headshots for police and sheriff's deputies, and they rotate. You're like, I'm on 3 months of midnight to 8, and then 3 months of 8 to 5. It's like, holy shit, man.
And then 3 to midnight.
That's got to just destroy your hormone regulation and all these, you're setting yourself up for problems.
Which really sucks because being a police officer is a super stressful job enough.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Let alone to screw around with your internal clock.
Like you said, the cortisol and all that. All those hormones. So let's talk about ghrelin here. So the role of leptin and ghrelin. Okay, leptin and ghrelin are 2 hormones that have been recognized to have a major influence on energy balance. That's the SECA we're talking about, right? Mm-hmm. How much you're burning versus how much you're taking in. That's kind of another term for the energy balance.
Correctamundo.
Yes. Leptin is a mediator of long-term regulation of energy balance, suppressing food intake and thereby inducing weight loss. Again, just less food in your mouth equals burning more fat. Ghrelin, on the other hand, is a fast-acting hormone seemingly playing a role in meal initiation. I like that, meal initiation. That's
your hunger hormone.
Hell yeah.
It's like, dude, you got to eat.
As a growing number of people suffer from obesity, understanding the mechanisms by which various hormones and neurotransmitters have influence on energy balance has been a subject of intensive research. In obese subjects, the circulating level of the anorexigenic hormone leptin is increased, whereas surprisingly, the level of the orexigenic hormone ghrelin is decreased. It is now established that obese patients are leptin resistant. Okay. However, in the manner in which both the leptin and ghrelin systems contribute to the development or maintenance of obesity is as yet not clear. So it sounds like these are kind of, and when I was doing a little bit of research, it seemed like stuff's fairly new. Like it wasn't, these hormones were not studied, until fairly recently.
For sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. And spoiler alert, there's a drug that's being tested right now that is actually a Ghrelin
suppressant
inhibitor.
Right. Yeah, you said that last week.
And that's going to be a game changer.
There's
a lot of nerds in
nutrition. That's almost scary, man.
It is. Remember the hype surrounding gastric bypass?
Oh, yeah.
This is going to be 100-fold.
Because if you just say, look, take this pill, bro, you'll
never be hungry.
Oh, that shit's going to sell out
Yeah.
immediately.
Yep.
It's going to be worse than Viagra.
Right.
Then you can have a bunch of lean dudes with giant hard-ons.
But guess what? Just like Jeff Goldblum said in Jurassic Park, life always finds a way.
Oh, yeah, right.
The body will adjust.
It'll adapt.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. It's not like all of a sudden the obesity epidemic's going to go away.
Right. Because how many people who are obese need to be hungry to eat?
Oh, yeah. No.
You're taking
most of them aren't.
You're suppressing your ghrelin and your leptin's kicking ass. And people are like, oh, I'm just perfectly satisfied right now. Food is an afterthought.
Yeah, no.
Want some pie? Yeah, I could eat.
Yeah.
They still eat.
Or the TV's on. Now is when I eat.
Right.
Or I'm at a movie. Now is when I eat.
You still got to change the behavior. Yeah.
People associate certain times of day or certain activities with that routine. And for me, the danger zone for me is snacking late at night. Like after the kids go to bed.
That's the danger zone for anybody.
Well, right.
But I'm loading up with energy and then going to bed.
But especially for me, like that's when I'm at my weakest, when I'm trying to be hardcore. That's when I'm most likely to fail is 9 p.m. to midnight. And you're sitting there, you're watching some fitness YouTube stuff or whatever. And it's like just that habit is there.
Or if you're the guy in the inner tube, you're watching porn.
Right. Well, at least it keeps your hands busy.
Well, he's eating right after. So.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely getting his food in, that's for sure. But yeah, man. Here's an interesting thing about the you said nature always finds a way or life finds a way, right? How many people had the bypass and got fat again?
3/4 of them.
I mean, they
just stretched that shit out again.
They're like, oh, you think that's going to stop me?
Right.
They all thought
cute
that
little rubber band.
Yeah. You cut out 3/4 of my stomach. Whatever. Watch me make more stomach, bitch. Yeah, they defeated that shit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because if you don't fix the habits, you're just going to go right down that same path again.
Yeah. It's a brain thing.
Yeah. So that's a leptin, everybody. I'll put that article in the show notes as well. So let's talk about our topic.
Time for everybody's favorite thing in the whole wide world.
Now, we're going to cover running. My first question, why? Why would anybody run? Running sucks. That really wasn't a question, but if someone were dumb enough to want to start running, why would they do it?
Because we're meant to do it.
And I'm being facetious there. But
we are meant to run and jump.
I do hate cardio. It's my least favorite thing. I think some of it is...
But if you didn't have good cardiovascular endurance, you starved to death.
So your argument is...
Evolutionarily, we're meant to run.
Right, because you got to chase that saber-toothed tiger.
Yep.
You got to chase that cave lady. Trying to get away.
Her hair ain't just going to grab itself.
Toxic caveman masculinity. Yeah. So, do you think running is let's just not even running, but just cardio in general
is absolutely necessary,
crucial. So you can't just be
screwed Doc Baker.
Can't just be Jim Bro.
Nope.
Well, he does cardio though. He does that bike. And,
I thought he didn't.
Kicks ass with
I
the
thought
rowing.
he was anti-cardio.
No, he does the rowing. In
the
fact, he's the
carnivore?
rowing champion.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm not thinking of Baker.
He's a world elite level rower.
Yep. No,
so he does it all.
He's endurance heavy. There's somebody that's carnivore that's anti-cardio.
Well, there's a lot of just lifters that, because again, everybody's extreme, right?
Yeah.
So for a while, like when I was growing up, nobody lifted. It wasn't even a thing. Like the only people that lifted were the football guys.
And the crazy bodybuilders.
Right. And everybody else was jogging because there was a craze during the 70s and 80s. And kind of the epitome of sexy body type then was super lean.
Right.
Not muscular.
Yep.
And not muscular lean, but just lean and thin. And that kind of epitomized the runner's body type, right? Like when you get the 23andMe and they say, you have a sprinter's body type. But
we all did if we wanted to eat.
Right. But, there's lots of guys out there that, well, if you look at marathon runners, look at guys.
That's an outlier, though.
Right. But they're pretty thin. They're not muscle heavy.
So
that was the epitome of like what was considered the ideal body type back in the 70s, like Twiggy. If you look at the supermodels back then, they were rail thin.
Yep. No ass.
Right. So that was what people were kind of chasing, no pun intended.
Right.
So how do you avoid that as, being the goal?
Okay, I'm going to explain a little bit of this, and then you can Rain Man up Google the term hybrid athlete. So what's the trend that's happened, and it might be because of CrossFit a little bit. I like to think it's part of CrossFit. But it is CrossFit driven. It's also Spartan race driven. But the goals, #goals, nowadays for a lot of people is the hybrid athlete where you're super, super, super strong and you can run. So
right, because CrossFit, you watch CrossFit games, they're lifting heavy shit and they're just killing themselves.
You just found the perfect example. Read that second paragraph.
So what is a hybrid athlete? Well, I'll read the first one just so they get the definition. A hybrid athlete is a unique breed who can excel simultaneously in both strength and endurance activities. Alex Viada has revolutionized this type of concurrent training as he has squatted and deadlifted over 700 pounds raw while also running a sub 430 mile and competing in ultramarathons and triathlons. He's refined his methods from working with hundreds of athletes in all disciplines, from strongmen who want to run half marathons to members of the special forces to the countless athletes who just want to be able to deadlift 500-600 pounds and run a 5-minute mile.
So there's a CrossFitter recently who, Adam Klink.
Okay.
And stud hybrid guy. This last summer, he did a sub 5-minute mile and then squatted 500 pounds in the same day.
Crazy.
He's goals, dude.
Right. Yeah, because it's super strong and has super endurance.
That's longevity.
It's longevity, and to me, it's the ultimate in functional fitness. Because what good are you as a fireman if you can lift the chick or elderly person?
You have to stop and catch your breath.
But you're like out of breath, after 5 steps.
Or vice versa. You can run up and down the steps a million times in your gear, but you can't lift her.
Right.
You both die.
So that's the ultimate in functional fitness, or army. Your buddy gets shot and you got to drag him
but it's
across
the
a field,
ultimate in homeostasis.
Define that. We better get the definition.
Okay.
Rather than the meathead one.
All right. Yeah. Well, wait, I thought I was going to define it. Achieving homeostasis.
I almost typed homo something. That might have been a whole different Google search. The tendency towards a relatively stable equilibrium between interdependent elements, especially as maintained by physiological processes. That means
what is the homeostasis in the human body?
So that means like the inputs equal to the outputs.
It's balance.
Okay.
It's biological balance.
The body's getting what it's expecting and what it requires.
The self-regulating process by which biological systems tend to maintain stability while adjusting to conditions that are optimal for survival.
Right, I like that.
So that is what I was saying is the hybrid athlete is the symbol of homeostasis.
Okay. Right. Yeah. So your argument is that most people are either one or the other. They're like
One trick pony.
cardio heavy or they lift a lot.
Not most, almost all.
Almost
if you're a
everybody.
hybrid athlete, that's why I don't know if you remember
Because
when
most marathon runners don't lift.
they can't even do a
Or
push-up.
didn't. Yeah, didn't. Now they might do more, but
Yeah, some do. So do you have Instagram up? You could go to Adam Klink's account. But anyways, the point of the hybrid athlete, and my goal is to run a sub 2-hour marathon, kind of in Adam's, kind of on his heels. Okay.
oops. Dishwan.
Yep. So kind of in his vein, I wanted to run a sub 2-hour marathon and bench 400 pounds in the same day.
Okay.
That was my goal.
Yep.
To me, that would also be hybrid. How many people at 40, I'll be 48 by then. How many people at 48 can run a sub 2-hour marathon and bench 400 pounds?
Oh, nobody.
I think I'd be a 1%er.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, we're looking at his physique here. He's very lean. You can see visible abs, and he's very muscular too. You
Yeah,
know, he's got what you'd want if you're looking for a muscular. You know, he looks like he lifts weights for sure.
Yep.
But the shot is of him running.
Yeah, and fast. If you keep looking and see if you can find one of him actually running, where he's extremely. This should keep going on this, or go back up. Click over and keep going all the way up. Now click over on Reels. So, anyways, he is what I would say is the.
So like here's a running one.
And no, down.
This
yeah,
one?
and that one.
Okay.
So he is the epitome of.
6 times 1,000 meter run, rest 2 minutes.
So I mean, he's muscular. He can bench a ton. He can squat 500 pounds, and he can still run like a deer.
So that's kind of optimal human performance, really,
Right.
when you think about it.
So that's where I was going with. We kind of went down a little bit of a rabbit hole here, but that's where I was going with when you said the one trick pony.
Yep.
It's going away.
Right.
This hybrid thing is really starting to take off.
Especially the popularity of CrossFit and things like that.
Right.
Don't emphasize one over the other necessarily.
But there's so many people who pride themselves as being, well, I shouldn't say that. There's not many actually, but there's so many people that pride themselves on being a hybrid athlete that don't do CrossFit.
Oh,
So
right.
it's CrossFit produces a fair amount of hybrids, but I would contend that most CrossFit athletes are shitty runners
Oh,
and hate it.
Right.
Self-admitted, they hate running.
and they just have to outperform in the other areas in order to not suck overall.
Well,
in the
not
competitions.
kind of, but usually in normal, like localized competitions, not the games athletes, but localized competitions.
Yeah.
There's no running.
Oh, gotcha.
Seldom running.
Right.
Not any real running.
Okay.
Not like a 5K or
Somewhere where you'd have to really be at an elite level
right.
to do it.
Right.
So, and like I was starting to say, was the pendulum kind of, when I was younger, it was all jogging, nobody
Yep.
worked out. And
It
then,
was lift.
and then it was kind of lift, you see the guys that lift, but then they never did. They were like, it seemed like treadmill was for pussies,
Do you even lift, bro?
Yeah, it was like, we're just lifting heavy shit and the treadmill.
Cardio, I just lift faster. Yeah, I've heard them all.
I like that.
It's bullshit.
That's good.
And the problem is you're not achieving homeostasis.
Right. So you're leaving some gains on the table, health-wise. And
That's why
longevity-wise.
on Saturday when I posted on Facebook and nobody got triggered, I was super surprised by that. But I posted a body with high lean mass and low fat mass is visible evidence of homeostasis,
Oh, right.
and that's immutable.
I don't think anybody can disagree with that.
They'll try. I'm homeostasis. And I'm fat. No, you're not.
They're just thinking of it as calories in, calories out.
They're just thinking that they're healthy.
Right.
And then they think because they don't have high cholesterol or high blood pressure that they're achieving homeostasis. Where is it?
Oh, I know.
Oh my God. Look at this board. You're like Rain Man.
Right there.
Okay. What did I say? I'll say it again. They think just because their blood work is normal and their high blood pressure, they don't have high blood pressure, they don't have high cholesterol, that they're healthy. But we know. Wrong.
That's right. Also.
Yeah, that would work too.
Yep. That's funny, man. All right. So, okay, we've all decided, oh shit, I need to be running in addition to my lifting, right? How do you start?
Pick a program.
Do? How do you?
The best thing to do is if you just
because running takes forever, man.
If you just
way harder.
No, it doesn't.
Way harder than
it doesn't. It doesn't. Especially when you start, it's so much fun because you can go for a 400.
Here's a myth.
Quarter mile.
Here's a myth for you. I used to work with a guy. Shout out to you, Rob. He got into running, right? Didn't lift at all. None of that. It was completely, peg the needle on the running side. He was telling me he'd get up at like whatever a.m. and go run like, 20 miles. And it took him like, 2 hours or whatever that takes?
That's one time a day.
Well, right.
20 miles would take him.
Well, I don't know, but
3 or 4. Yeah. Depends how fast he goes. But
because progressive overload, you got to keep up in your distances. Sure, he started at an hour or whatever. Or a mile or, but then you got to go 2, then you got to go 3. And the goal was just like you're trying to bench 400. Well, you want to bench 405, then you want to bench 410. He wanted to run 5 miles, then 10, then 15. And it was taking up freaking half his day just try to get these runs in. Answer that, bitch.
12 to, even if you're like super elite, you're probably not running more than 20. Once.
So how do you get
one day a week?
How do you get 1 day a week?
Yeah, you're not doing a long run more than 1 day a week.
You ran every day, I think.
Not that far.
Well, maybe it was like 8 miles a day or something, but
maybe.
Whatever.
But you need short runs. You need speed work. There's all sorts of different things.
But it's progressive overload, so it's always going to get more and more. See, but it doesn't take any more time for you to bench 400 than it did 350.
True.
It's the sets takes the same amount of time, and you can progressively overload easily.
Yeah, you'll plateau.
Running, you got to go longer.
Eventually,
or is the solution stick a ruck vest on?
The genetics
or try to go faster.
Or go faster, but genetics are a limiter. Pretty soon, you're just going to be the runner you are.
Yeah. So that's always was my when I was talking to him, I'm like, that sounds horrific. Like you're getting up at 5 a.m. running for 2 hours and then going to work. I can do a 45-minute lifting workout and I can squeeze that in every other day. But that just seemed like horrible.
Yeah.
No fun.
Yeah, that's why rucking sucks because it's like 3-4 hours on a Saturday.
I like to call it sucking.
It's fun though. It's addicting. But
you kind of make it into a group thing, right? Like you'll get
kind of. But I like to go by myself too, and it's a lot of good alone time. And
that's when you have your wife drop you off out of town and
right
to find your way back.
Yep. Blindfolded.
I bet she was like, "Hey, you want to go ruck today? I'll drop you off 15 miles out of town."
Right.
With a blindfold on and no GPS.
Yeah. She wouldn't mind.
Right.
So, but no, I think it's just achieving that eliteness of saying, well, I don't run, but I lift. Cool, I do both.
Right. It's a little bit of a badge of honor.
It is.
Or people look at you and they see muscles and they go, yeah, but I bet he can't even freaking, he's out of breath probably going up the stairs.
Yeah, well, let's go run.
And then you just destroy them.
Yeah. So I think it's going to pick up steam. I mean, it already has, but I think it's going to continue to get popular and more popular. But
so if you're going to tell like a total noob,
it's hard.
You're right. If you're going to tell a total noob,
Google.
What do?
Google couch to 5K. And there are literally thousands of programs. It's already on this
autocomplete.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
couch to 5K running
there are
plan.
like I said, there are thousands. The one I like is Hal Higdon. My wife Mel, she turned me on to that way back in the day. I ignored it.
Yeah, so it's basically breaks it down by week.
Yep.
Oh, that's podcast too. They have a podcast, a week by week description of 9 weeks set of Couch to 5K podcasts. Each week involves 3 runs. Huh.
So Like, look at that one. For your first 3 runs, week 1, you will begin with a brisk 5-minute walk.
Okay. Yep. After this, you alternate 1 minute of running and 1.5 minutes of walking for a total of 20 minutes.
That's couch to 5K.
Right.
That's where you would start.
Yep.
If this isn't your one, keep searching the Google results because there's literally thousands.
Yeah. Yeah. Bottom line is you just need to get off your ass.
Yep.
Okay. Tips on progression. Here we go. Designed for beginners to gradually build up their running ability so they can eventually run 5 kilometers without stopping. The pace of the 9-week running plan has been tried and tested by tens of thousands of new runners. You can, however, repeat any one of those weeks until you feel physically ready to move on. So that's their version of progressive overload. You start barely doing anything, and in 9 weeks, you're running a 5K. Yeah?
Yep.
Oh, here it talks about rest days. Rest days are critical. Having one between each run will reduce your chance of injury and also make you a stronger, better runner. Resting allows your joints to recover from what is high-impact exercise. Okay, that's the other.
What a segue. This is literally what's in my head right now. Finish.
Right. That's the other
Finish.
thing that sucks about running, brah. Your knee's going to go. You're going to blow out your knees, brah.
Okay. So
10 years from now, your knee's going to suck. Knee replacements, brah.
There is, and what I say to that guy is an old Testosterone Nation meme, and it said, running is not hard on your knees. Being fat is hard on your knees.
Yes.
Your knees don't hurt because you run. They hurt because you're fat.
Well, okay, so what about a guy that lifts that's lean, has muscle mass?
He has too much.
Well, but a regular, in shape guy versus, could that guy run?
Okay, fine. Then
can you
change
run with no
change the meme with you're too heavy to run.
I mean, obviously you should run if running is better than being a fat ass. I agree with that.
But like you had Adam Klink up and you saw his physique.
Right.
He's never going to be overly huge.
No, of course.
He's still barely over 200 pounds.
Right, but I'm saying the act of running, you take that Adam Klink guy, good muscular shape, decently lean, was running long distance is going to wear out his joints.
No, because he's
Okay.
strong enough.
Okay.
Because he can squat 500 pounds.
Right. So
there is
the repetitive motion is not a problem?
No. Okay. That's just excuses for people who say that's why they don't run.
Well, these are the myths that are out there.
Sure, exactly. If you're
why
an
I'm bringing
ultra
them
marathoner and you run hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles, sure.
Then that's extreme. Yeah.
Let's revisit when you do those things.
The outliers,
But right now you can run a 5K.
Yeah.
You just don't want to.
True. I don't.
No, I get it. I didn't either.
Right.
But now I do.
But yeah, that's one of the myths out there, though, is that you think, well,
For sure.
your knees only have so many reps in them. You're going to wear them out.
Your heart only, or it's so
many beats
some fat
in your
dude,
lifetime or whatever.
Yeah, some fat dude at work today told me, your heart only has so many beats. Don't waste them on exercise.
Right.
Whatever, dude.
Well, yeah, except for he uses up an extra 400 of his going up the stairs.
Yeah, you use twice as me, and I do exercise.
Yours pumps one time going up the stairs. Cuck fuck you, stairs. Shit.
But no, I get it. I mean, it's hard.
Well, and you hear
And
the
it
stories.
hurts.
You hear the stories too.
Yeah.
Well, here's the other thing too. What about the guys that were back in the day when all these myths got developed, were carbo loading right before they ran, and what I talk about my inflammation and my aches and pains going away when I was carb restricted. So how much some of that might have been diet related too. Some of their aches and pains.
Zach Bitter, who is an ultra marathoner, had the 100-mile world record, I believe.
It was like a day or something, right?
Yeah,
10 hours.
Like 10 hours. Yeah. He was like super keto and only used carbs to fuel training and races.
Yeah, that's craziness.
So yeah, there might be some of that. He'd argue that it helped him with the inflammation and stuff like that. But if you do, this is a slippery slope, but I'm going to say it anyways. Mm-hmm. I'll let people be left alone to their own choices.
As they should be.
You can outrun a bad diet.
Ooh.
But
perfect freaking segue.
But you can't. A person could, but they're not going to.
Right, exactly. That's a perfect segue because that was You've been in CrossFit gyms where they shit on cardio, right? Or have you?
No. Not at all. It's the last half of the whole workout is cardio.
Maybe I was at.
Well, it's
I'm trying to
anaerobic.
think where I was at, but they were basically shitting on runners, basically. But maybe it's just because
Shitting on running
to the exclusivity of not doing lifting.
Yep.
I think that's what they were doing.
Or there's some tongue-in-cheek comments or memes or T-shirts that say, I do CrossFit because I don't run or I don't want to run or something stupid.
Okay. So
none of which are funny.
Well, here's the other meme, or the other myth, I should say, is like you said, the outrunning the diet thing.
Yep.
Because, the old knock on cardio of any kind is you can't. And my personal experience was I did not want to change my diet when I first realized I was getting chubby and wanted to change it. So I got the old elliptical and did it for 45 minutes every night and didn't change my diet, and I didn't drop a pound.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I changed my diet, I started dropping a pound a day.
Sure.
And as we know, the diet is 80% of it.
Sure.
And it's not that the cardio is not a factor. It is, but it's much less of one.
Absolutely. And you're spot on. That's accurate and true.
Yep.
But
thank you. Good night.
If you would have done 45 minutes at a 6:30 mile pace, and then the next day went to the round track at the high school and did interval sprints as hard as you possibly can for 90 minutes, and then the next day did 8 miles at a 7-minute pace, and you did that all week long, guess what? You can outrun whatever the fuck you're eating at that point.
Right. Yeah. But that's extreme. Right?
It is,
Nobody
for sure.
wants to put that type of commitment.
But that's my point. You can outrun a bad
Nobody's gonna
diet,
do it.
but you're not going to.
So let's get into that. So let's look at, talks about different types of cardio and how many calories it burns in 30 minutes. Hiking, 185. Dancing, 165.
It all depends on how heavy the person is.
Well, yeah, this is, of course, obviously all dependent on many things. That's why you stick a vest on, right?
Absolutely.
Because you can up your calories per minute significantly.
Well, and it just makes it harder.
Right.
It's not about calories, but
That's
a side.
That's one of the side benefits. Yeah.
Yep.
Walking, 140 calories. Running, 295. Bicycling,
Running at 5?
running 5 miles per hour.
That's jogging.
Okay.
I'd say you got to be at least
Show off.
6 to be running.
Bicycling greater than 10 miles per hour, 295 calories. That's funny because bicycling and running are about the same. And swimming, 255. Okay. So now we talk.
Swimming's less than running.
Yeah, but I would have never guessed that. I always heard swimming was way. Well, maybe it's just because our technique sucks.
Flailing about.
Right. I'm not doing it well, so it feels way harder. It'd be like if I was trying
I'm
to.
not very efficient, they call it.
Exactly.
The swimmers call it.
Exactly. So the outrunning the diet thing. So I found this meme about the average calorie count for candy bars, okay? So what did we just see here in our list of cardio? So the highest one of these is 295. Let's just call it 300, right?
Yep.
Running for a half hour. Now you eat one candy bar.
It's over.
And, well, they're right about the same amount.
Oh, yeah. It's a wash.
It's a wash. So if your goal is reduce weight, then, and you hate cardio, the better, skip the candy bar, you can skip a half hour of the cardio. If you eat one candy bar, you got to run for a half hour for that 30 seconds of eating that Snickers.
That's when you go to a marathon and people have shirts that say, I run so I can eat pizza.
Right. And that is where
running.
That is where the you cannot run the diet comes from. Because if you're eating a Snickers, it takes 30 seconds to eat. Then you got to run for literally a half hour to counteract that 30 seconds of chewing.
Right.
That's where the saying comes from. So the solution obviously is eat a giant bowl of vegetables and chicken, that is only, what'd you say, 700 calories or whatever, but of crucial nutrients that your body loves. And hang on, let me finish my thought here.
Okay.
And can fuel you for, an entire day's worth of activities.
Sure.
And you're full for, the next 12 hours or whatever.
Right.
While keeping that calorie count low, and that you can actually burn that amount. And now you're going to show me what you burned.
There's where my rock 2 Saturdays ago.
Oh, okay.
That's my calorie burn.
1,783. Yeah. So that's like,
I could have a few Snickers.
yeah, you could have like 5 or 6 of them.
But together with my rested minute, my my RMR, my resting metabolic rate, that day I burned over 5,000.
Yeah. Crazy.
That's a lot of Twix.
Yep.
So you can see where I'm getting at with you.
Yeah.
Could technically outrun it.
But this is where
that was 4 hours out of my day.
That was a lot of time.
Yeah.
This is where you have to know what's going on with your body. You have to know the numbers.
Yep. Just keep track.
Because if you think you can eat the Kit Kat, you may or may not be right.
Yep.
You may be way the hell off. You might have to jog a lot or run a lot to burn off the Kit Kat.
But the problem is, people. Here's the real.
People lie about themselves. They'll say, "Well, the Kit Kat, they'll have a donut, they'll have pizza, they'll have beer."
They'll have that whole right column.
Yeah, exactly.
Or people underestimate, like, this is real.
Or they overestimate their exertion.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, under the food, over the effort.
I exercise my ass off and I barely eat.
And that's where I was going with that. You hear people all the time. It's like, oh, I'm going to have, you know what? They go out to eat on Friday night. And the server says, can I get you guys started with any appetizers? And the mom goes, oh, I better not. But you know what? I did yoga on Tuesday.
Oh, yeah.
So let's start with some spinach dip.
Yep. One yoga on Tuesday for a half hour equals four nights of eating out.
Right. Or just that validation for the spinach dip.
Yeah.
On Friday night.
Yep.
That's fuzzy math, bro.
Oh. Way off.
Yep.
Yeah, your chances are that yoga cancels out the first 2 bites of that spinach dip.
Right.
And then the rest is just packing on the LBs.
Yep. Assuming you ate perfectly.
People cannot.
Between Tuesday and Friday.
People cannot. This is why epidemiology sucks so hard. Because they're being asked to self-report what they consumed.
Yep.
That's why Saladino and all these guys.
So did you follow the plan? Oh, to a T. Well, chalk that in the follow column.
Yep.
Science is great.
Yep, exactly. If it's not observed by a lab technician in a controlled environment.
And yet people don't get to leave.
Right. It's pretty freaking meaningless. I mean, that's why that one study, there's some study about some mental patients. Actually, I think it took place in St. Paul. I'll find the link and put it in the show notes. But
what are you trying to say?
It was a great controlled, just that it was near us kind of, but it was a great controlled study because they never left. So they actually observed this nutrition, they put them on a certain diet and observed what happened. And it was because they were in this controlled environment.
Sure. There's a few of those.
Yeah, they got real.
But I know what you're talking about now.
They got real data versus people that self-report. I mean, when you go to your doctor, maybe not you, but your average person, when you go to your doctor and they how much you drink a week. I mean, they're always shooting low, right? They're never going to confess.
Well, it's like, what's it supposed to be again?
Exactly. 3 drinks a week. That many.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure the doctor's like, okay, I'll put 10 down then, you lying bastard.
Right. No, they put 3, and alcohol's not a problem.
Exactly.
Anywhere in the country.
Right. So, you have to know your. And tell me again what app you use to track your inputs, or you tell people to track with. Which one?
Fat Secret.
Fat Secret. That's right. Yeah, I gotta start doing that because I need to know exactly.
I'm to the point now where I know everything that's put in front of me. Give me a plate and I can tell you within 50 calories.
Right, but you're years into this.
Yeah, but I still eat something weird sometimes, and I read right for the app.
And are you surprised once in a while still?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Especially with some desserts. Like cheesecake is super, super, super high in fat and sugar, and that's not a ton of calories, though.
Wow.
Like a decent slice, just thin, but there's only like 180, 190.
Yeah, that's not bad, yeah.
It's thin, but
you think it'd be higher.
It'd be like 600.
Right.
Tastes like 600.
Right. And that's where it's so tough for people to, they have to know these numbers. So you got to track because you're going to never be able to guess it until you've been doing it for years and tracking for years. And the reason you can accurately guess now is because you tracked and you've helped people track.
And shameless plug. Mm-hmm. Shameless plug alert.
Yep.
And you also never know how many calories you're actually burning. Well, until now.
Right. You get one of them PNOEs.
One of them sandwich presses.
Panini. Yeah, what is that thing called?
PNOE.
PNOE.
It's actually, that's the name of the company. The product is a metabolic analyzer.
And you got one here in town, baby.
And it's not here yet, but.
Oh, okay. So
it's shipping.
Right.
I think
But people can reach out, send us an email, info@fitandfurious.com if you want to hear about it or get on the list.
Yes.
You can start
or go to
analyzing.
PNOE.com. And if you can fill out a survey or a request, I'm not even scared. You can fill out a request for more information or a test on the PNOE.com website.
Oh, okay. And
they'll straight to us anyways.
They'll fund you or they'll funnel it to you because you're the only one in the area.
Yep.
Excellent. Yeah, check that out. Okay, so back to running for a second here. What about sprinting versus steady state or whatever they call it?
Aerobic versus anaerobic.
I mean, do you think it's
depends on
important
what
to do a mix?
It depends on what the RPE is too. I mean, it's if you are going balls out and it's for an hour, that's not really steady state.
I'd say, yeah, right.
But it's for a long time. Yeah. So it depends on then that goes back to the zone training we talked about.
Yep.
So if you're zone 2, that's more steady state, or LISS, they call it, long interval steady state.
Well, basically for a noob, would you recommend you need to do a mix?
No, for a noob, I'd say follow that couch to 5K and do what's comfortable.
Okay.
And listen to your body. But first and foremost, one of the things I really, really, really wanted to touch on, but not dive into because I don't know shit about it, and I'm starting to learn, and it's super, super complicated, is how to run.
Oh, the actual mechanics of it.
Yes. Where if you're like, oh, you know what? I'm only like 178 pounds, and
how dare you?
My knees hurt when I run.
Just because you're doing it
could be
wrong.
a heel striker. You could be going like this instead of on the toe.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, I'm a heel striker. You can see it in my shoes. I mean, like the back third of my shoes, it looked like racing slicks at the drag strip.
Just get wore out.
Yep. So I'm like, oh, cool. I'm just going to become a toe striker. Fuck. It is not that easy.
Right.
It's super complicated.
Because you've been running your whole life a
like
certain
that
way.
Except when I sprint.
Just naturally.
Then I'm a toe striker.
Oh, okay. Because you're really leaning forward. And Okay. So you have to adapt that
and you have to do drills.
Oh, okay.
To learn. And you look like an idiot.
Did you have to film yourself and like show somebody or have somebody watch?
I haven't gotten that far yet.
Okay,
I've been just doing simple basic drills like during my warm up before I run. Well, full disclosure, I haven't been running because I'm waiting until after this ruck tomorrow.
Oh, right.
So, and then next week I'll start back up running.
But you ran. I mean, when one of your round fat face pictures, you ran a marathon.
Right. So, I mean, right.
You've done it.
Yep. Carbo loaded there. Lots of spaghetti. Oh, that was a ritual, dude. And that year I had friends come up from the Twin Cities and we went to Speakeasy.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
And then I'm destroying their lasagna because it's so good.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
And I think we got a big family style thing of spaghetti to share on top of the lasagna.
Yes.
That's why my face looked like that. And then the whole next day I'm running.
Oh, yeah.
Just burping up marinara and just disgusting.
Marathon era.
That sounded cooler in your head.
It just came out.
I know.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. So how about, have you found some good resources? And you'll have to send me.
The best resources on the planet
the best websites
are follow the hashtag running on Instagram.
Okay.
Yep.
Let's look at it.
If you follow the hashtag running on Instagram, there's so many people that are just good runners.
You have to type that.
Follow that guy.
Yeah, the Adam Klink.
Yeah.
Hashtag running.
There's
only 75 million posts.
Right.
Hashtag running.
So most of it's like
a lot of inspiration, a lot of beauty pictures, mountains.
Which there's worse things to look at.
Yeah, exactly. And then a lot of promo for shoes. Oh, I was going to ask you about that too. Like
shoes are everything.
I know you love shoes. You love your CrossFit shoes, your weightlifting shoes.
I like my Hoka's the best, and those are my running shoes.
Okay.
And they are the reason, literally the reason I enjoy running now.
Really?
is because of those shoes.
Because you bought a certain kind of shoe.
Yep.
Okay. Well, there's no shortage of shoe ads here.
And if that shoe doesn't show up in one of these, I'll eat my hat.
I wouldn't recommend
They're gaining a lot of steam.
Nutritionally.
And the coolest story about Hoka is that they started out pretty modestly and went on, there's a bear right there.
Like Shark Tank or something.
They went on Shark Tank
These
and
right here?
and all the sharks said no.
Oh.
They're like, you think you're going to compete with Reebok and Nike of the world? And they're like, yeah, we are. And that just made me buy them to start with. And then once I did.
Support the underdog.
Yep.
But then they, if they suck, they're never going to grow. So
look at that last sentence of that Chad running.
They fit like a glove with the perfect balance of responsiveness and cushion.
It's like running on pillows, dude.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
You can see how chunky the heels are.
Right. Got to have that absorption there.
Yeah, it's...
So do you like bring your running shoes and then when you get to where you're going, then you put on the running shoes and I only use these for the running.
I do that in the wintertime.
And then I put my cowboy boots back on when I go home.
Fuck cowboy boots.
I baited you there.
I know.
But I mean, you have separate shoes.
In the wintertime, I will carry my shoes in my bag till I get to the gym to run on the treadmill or the track.
Okay.
But that's just because it's shitty out.
Yeah.
If I go to run, I just put them on and run out my front door and run.
Go for it.
Yeah.
But you have exercise specific shoe for most things.
Yeah. I got, yeah. And it matters. Squatting in running shoes is the dumbest thing anyone could
because
ever
there's too
do.
much.
Oh, there's no stability. You're not flat enough. There's too much movement. It's,
A lot of people do it barefoot, I've noticed.
For sure do it barefoot over running shoes.
Yeah. Because then you have that connection to the ground. You're not going to be tilting.
Yes, and they say the whole thing when you're squatting is grip the floor with your feet and turn out.
Monkey style.
You can't do that when you're wearing Hokas.
Wearing pillows. Pillows on my feet.
So yeah, no, that's a good place to start.
Okay.
It's the first few scrolls there probably weren't the best, but if you scroll enough, you'll see
75 freaking million posts.
Sure, and I like the motivation. You see guys or gals, a lot of gals run because they're smarter than us.
Well, also because they might choose cardio over lifting because of the opposite. The pendulum went the wrong way for them.
For sure,
they were told you don't want to get bulky and big, so don't lift weights.
Yep.
Running and yoga and jogging was more of a.
But what I think helps people, like in the morning when you're taking a shit, just go on. If you follow this hashtag, and you're just sitting there until your legs fall asleep, scroll through, and you're gonna see people posting like that gal or that girl right there. No, down. You were there, right there. 5:57 kilometer. No, I can't believe you're. The time.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So she posted, she did a 5K
Yep.
and she did 5:57 a kilometer and she did it in 29 minutes. People are going to see that and say, that's my pace. Kick ass.
Right. You don't feel like it's unattainable.
Right. It feels like you're not alone.
Yep.
Like, well, I'm not going to post my shit on the internet. I'm slow as shit. It's embarrassing. And then you go on here and you're like, oh, like that guy right there. 3:01, 9:08. That's mine.
Right.
That's my pace.
Yep.
So I'm training at a 9:03 right now. Well, when I start running again, for to try and do 9:03 for 13.1 miles is sub 2 hours.
Okay.
It's like 1:55, I think.
That's good. All right. Well, there we go.
Not all Instagram, not all social media is bad.
No, you gotta. Just like saying TV or. Video games or any of that stuff. What?
Come on. What do you mean, what?
Oh, that? Yeah, he must work out.
Jesus.
I like him.
I don't think we can be friends anymore.
Like in Dumb and Dumber. See the butt on that?
Yeah, he must work out.
Good stuff. All right, well, I'll post all these sites in the show notes. So if you're itching to get off the couch.
What a what better time than right now to start, especially in our region.
Right. We got the marathons coming up. There's all kinds of
not till September, but
5Ks and
but
if you're a fat ass on the couch, September is not too far away.
Yeah.
You should have started a little bit.
Mel and I actually joined a local running club.
Oh, there is that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yep, we joined it. It's
you'll have to send that link to me so
I will
advise anyone who is pursuing that.
It's you go ahead and pull up your stuff and I'll pull up this program.
We're going to get into
How Fat is Josh?
We're still doing that?
Yep, we're just going to go through it real fast here. So
all right, I'm going to read this quick though.
Yep.
Only 2 weeks until summer 2021 training begins. The 2021 training begins June 5th. We provide a flexible 16-week program with 10K, half marathon, and full marathon training options. Training is open to runners of all ages and abilities. Whether this is your first 10K or your 10th marathon, we are here to support you so that you can reach your running goals. Registration cost is only $60 for the entire program for 16 weeks. That's a pretty good deal.
I'd say.
Registration is only $60. Weekly newsletter with advice, information, and inspirational stories from fellow runners. Saturday morning long run group runs with planned routes and water breaks. Yoga for runners sessions. Cross training and short group run opportunities during the week. Speed work sessions. Support from experienced coaches and team shirts.
Cool. And what's the name of that club? Is it like Fargo Running Club or something?
It's Fargo Running. It's just called Faster, Stronger Running Club.
Okay.
Runners Club, but it was Fargo. These folks started, and then Fargo Running Club, Fargo Moorhead Running Club started, and then they merged.
Okay. You have to send me the link, and I'll post that so people can check it out.
Sure.
All right. Well, let's just get through my fatness here quick. So remember, last week I gained 7 pounds because I went to Orlando and ate my face off. I just went there, man. Yep. So back down 5 from that. So I'm back on the road to recovery. But like you mentioned the one time about how the cheat meal.
So you just went back to March.
Exactly. The cheat meal can set you back. You know, in one day you can undo what you did that entire week. Well, I was a living example of in one 5-day period, I went back 3 months worth. Erased 3 months of gains, but I lost 5 again. So I'm back down to. I should be below this next week, so I'll be back.
So what
on
living
track,
hell did you have to go through to get through to that 5?
Nothing, because it was just overconsumption of my homeostasis. You know, my natural calories in, calories out. Just it was a lot of water weight and just excess carbs and stuff.
So you didn't fast for 6 days?
No, not at all. I just went back to my normal eating meat once or twice a day, and I think I fasted for maybe 148 hour. I've been doing almost like a 48 hour almost every week now, because that's a good way for me to start. So
this probably isn't the good time to bring up the podcast I listened to about people who fast and can't maintain muscle.
Well, that's the carnivore Aurelius again. He's anti-fasting now. That one tweaked me hard.
Some people are anti-fasting for athletic performance reasons.
Yeah, I don't even want to get into it.
So with my
half-hour discussion, but
my
and you said you can't fast right now because you can't get your calories or your protein goals.
Yep.
There's just not enough time in the day.
So I don't eat a frickin' Denver omelet and a skillet for breakfast, but I have a shake with a banana in it, a ton of protein, and some PB2 and some chia seeds.
It's the only way you can get your protein.
Without a 24-hour period. Yeah, exactly. So I'm not fasting right now, but it doesn't mean my goals are different. Stop comparing yourself to people.
Exactly.
If your goal is I want my doctor to be happy with my blood work, and I want to get my waist down and live 10 years longer, then fasting's for you.
Yeah.
Could be.
Oh yeah. I think it definitely I think it has a place for everybody except for people that
here's the dogmatic nature of people that they automatically gravitate to. Yep. They say, not fasting anymore, huh? Because that didn't work out.
Oh, like tried and failed.
Yeah, exactly. No, it doesn't fit what I'm doing right now, dickhead.
Yeah, it's all purposeful.
Right.
Yeah, you're making a choice and you're adjusting your strategy based on your goals,
Right.
and you failed at it. But
Sure. Sure. I guess if
yeah,
fasting for 16 hours a day for 4.5 years is failing, sure.
Yeah. Well, and that's, just like we said last week, the dogmatic nature of all this stuff comes into play.
Right.
And people either get on team fasting or team never fast. That's stupid.
Yep. Or meat or vegan.
Yeah.
Or
And it's all the stuff.
keto or
So
high carb.
You have to experiment and see what works for you. And that goes for all this. And I'm, very rigid, but I'm trying to be very much more open-minded when it comes to this stuff. Because when I see the carnivore realist guy going, fasting sucks, and here's why. And of course, he's just being a dick on purpose to be a troll and get more views. It's working. But he still triggers me,
Dr. Peter Attia, the foremost expert, I would argue,
Very, very fucking
him or Rhonda Patrick, experts in fasting, self-experimented fasting. He, in his podcast this week, he said that he was working with a gal and they were doing his body fat and his lean body mass, all that stuff. And he lost, over the last decade, like 6 pounds of muscle. And she goes, Peter, it's your fasting. Because he would do 48 to 72 hours once a month.
What was his leanness a decade ago? Like, did he start off where he needed to lose some fat, or was he pretty lean?
It depends. There's some. He was a world-class cyclist.
So it probably was pretty lean.
No, he wasn't, because he was mainlining Gatorade and Snickers and
skinny fat.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
And he's a swimmer. He's the guy that ran.
He outran the diet.
No, he didn't actually. He couldn't outswim it. He swam like 100 miles something in San Francisco.
Because that's what I wonder about with the fasting thing is, I think, like you said, for your average person with not a super high activity level that has some decent amount of body fat to lose, I think it's a super powerful tool still. But maybe if for nothing else, to teach them what hunger is. Right. Exactly. Yeah. Right. Just to and as a tool to keep the calories down.
Right.
Because if you need to be in a caloric deficit, and you can easily hit that, because if you're not eating the bowls of the Tupperware of lean chicken and stuff.
Right.
That's one way to keep the calories down. The other way is to not put food in your mouth.
Right.
They're both. But, you need to do that because you're trying to hit a certain protein goal, and that requires a larger volume of food.
Right.
Versus when it's keto and it's a lot of fat, then you can
doesn't take much food.
Doesn't take much food. So then fasting is a much more useful tool.
Sure.
To limit those calories for the day. All right. Well, let's wrap it up there, guys. So send us emails to info@fitandfurious.com if you have any questions, topic ideas, you want to get in on the running group or the what's it called, the Panini Press?
PNOE.
The PNOE.
PNOE.
Metabolic Analyzer. And once we get that in, we'll do a whole episode on it, and I'll maybe have you do it on me and do a demo.
The head guy said he'd be a guest. So
awesome!
We're still going to have him on.
Awesome. Yep. I want to learn all about that thing.
From Greece, we'll have to work out the time change. But
right. I'm sure it'll be easy. Which one is it, Sandy or Danny?
Not the movie.
Oh, okay. Just checking.
His name is Daniel.
All right. Make sure you guys watch it on YouTube if you're not. There's all kinds of visuals. We had a cat and a weight belt today. I mean,
and I'm still hiding my face.
You're missing that. If you think you don't want to miss that stuff.
I'm like Wilson on Home Improvement.
Right. And we're anywhere audio podcasts are found: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, etc. Please make sure you subscribe, rate, review, and share. Head to FuriousMerch.com for t-shirts, and we will see you next week. I'm going to go running.
Fire.
Dewey, quit running out of here. Come back.